Here are 3 reasons why the iPhone SE 2020 won't be the best selling smartphone. The first is carrier subsidy and most people. When talking about iPhone sales, we must talk about carriers because they account for a majority of iPhone sales in North America. In a consumer study conducted in 2017 showed Apple stores accounted for only 10% of total iPhone sales, whereas carrier stores accounted for a whopping 85%. Retailers such as Best Buy, Amazon, etc. accounted for the remaining 5%. Of course, these percentages would have changed by 2020, but not drastically. That's because Apple is still trying to win back customers from carriers by offering better buyback prices. So it's safe to say that we, the tech community, belong in that 15%. Alright, carrier subsidies. Carriers are really clever organizations. They know exactly how to price a product, subsidize that same product over a period of time, and retain customers. And that's exactly what they're going to do with the iPhone SE 2020. They're not going to let a budget iPhone disrupt their sales of their other flagship smartphones. And here's how they're subsidizing the SE. $399 divided over a 24-month term is $16.67 per month. And this is how much they're subsidizing the XR. $599 divided over the same 24-month term is $24.99. So for $8 more per month, you're getting a bigger display and bigger battery. And carriers are going to shrink that price difference even more with subsidy discounts on the XR. That is because the XR is the older model at this point, and they'd be looking to get rid of older inventory rather than discounting on the new one. And when most people demographic visit carrier stores for an upgrade, the XR will appear to be a better deal than the SE. Now, you and I, being part of the tech community, have specific set of expectations from our smartphone, so we know which phone is a better value. But for most people, yes, the same most people argument that we use in Twitter and Reddit conversations, saying this is the iPhone for most people, or most people will love this iPhone. Yeah, they don't really care. They don't care what this phone is capable of. They only care about what this phone can do for them. But the A13 doesn't matter to the most people demographic. What matters to them in 2020 is a big display and a bigger battery. But what about the $399, you ask? Well, that's only going to matter for people who are going to buy it outright. And those are the people who go to Apple stores and retailers. And remember, those people account just for 15% of the total iPhone sales. Most people will go to their carriers for an upgrade, and carriers will subsidize other iPhone models to compete with the SE. Most people's usage pattern has changed. People consume multimedia on their smartphones more than ever before, and the 4.7-inch display simply just doesn't cut it. And smartphones have become an investment thanks to contracts, and a phone that looks like it's from 2017 is not going to attract most people demographic. Think about it. If people really love that smaller form factor and a lower price tag, the XR would have never outsold the 8 series. And that brings us to the second reason, which is user preference. The tech community is behaving as though this is the first time that Apple has released a budget smartphone with a top-of-the-line processor. Apple has done it before with the original SE. Same $399 price tag, top-of-the-line A9 processor, and the greatness of the smaller form factor. Do you know how that performed? It sold about 5% of the smartphone market in the US, 2.5% in China, and less than 1% in all the other regions combined where Apple sells its iPhones. Clearly, it didn't take off as the tech community predicted because people's preferences had changed towards bigger phones. They chose the 6S and 7 over the SE, which led to Apple discontinuing the SE the very next year. When the next update cycle came, basically when their contracts ended in 2018-2019 period, they again chose the bigger option, which was the XR. This was despite having the iPhone 8 series, which was much cheaper, available to them. This change in user preference and outperformance of the XR has left Apple with tons of iPhone 8 and 8 Plus parts, which they are recycling with the SE 2020. They will sell few million units in the US, but they're not going to sell as many in other regions because, unlike US, they have better options and finally discontinue this model next year. Another reason Apple and carriers can't afford to keep selling cheaper iPhones is because it'll impact the sales of their newer models, and that eventually will impact their revenue and profit. And that brings us to the third reason, which is other regions have better options. EU and Asian regions have brands that offer much more for the price. Here's how much the iPhone SE costs in those regions. As you can see, it's much more than what it's priced at in the US because of tariffs and taxes and duties. But another fact to keep in mind is most of those regions buy phones outright. So when people from these regions tell you that they have better options, it is their reality and it's the truth. Don't behave like this Apple asswipe thinking as though US is the only country in the world. Most of these regions for $399 have the Redmi K30 Pro, Realme X20 Pro, and other brilliant mid-range smartphones. I'll be making a $400 showdown between an Android phone and the SE, so subscribe to the channel and stay tuned. But ecosystem, you say? In reality, it's more like ecosystem that exists only in the US. Most people who buy Apple products in the Asian countries do it for the status. macOS is not a thing, iMessage is not a thing, FaceTime is not a thing. Basically, integration amongst Apple products is not a thing. Apple products in these regions are considered luxury products. That's why they're listed under premium smartphones. They're not a commodity. They're not a utility for these markets. If they're going to spend 42,000 rupees on an iPhone, it better look like those new ones. It shouldn't look like they bought a used iPhone for 25,000 rupees in 2020 just because they wanted an iPhone. Yes, the iPhone SE 2020 will sell. In fact, it's going to sell millions of units in the US market, but it's not going to be the best-selling smartphone. Apple and carriers won't let that happen for obvious business reasons. Alright guys, so yeah, that's about it. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon for notifications on more such videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care in the meantime.